Hello. How many of you like to drive cars? Well, what if I told you that in the very near future you may not be able to? And that's because of autonomous cars, which are self-driving cars, so they don't rely on humans to drive them. Now, I really like cars, and I don't really want this to happen. So today I'm going to be showing you the negatives of what autonomous cars can do. This problem may be fixable, and that the future without autonomous cars may not be good for people who actually do like cars. Now, exactly what an autonomous car is and what they're planning on doing is that they're planning on making a system so that people don't actually own cars anymore, or if they do, it'll only be like one. And then when you'll like call a car, it'll come pick you up and then take you to wherever you want to go, then go back to the garage or whatever. So it doesn't really require people driving cars, and then you won't also be owning any cars. Now, the bad of this, well, one, the sensors and everything aren't really ready, according to Fung, in that they're not really like ready to be on the roads. And also, there's another big problem that comes up with this, and that's the morality of it. Say you have a car driving on the road that drives itself, and a little kid runs out on the road, and the option is to A, either hit the kid, or B, swerve off the road and hit a tree, which then kills the driver. So you have to somehow program that, and then however you program it's what's going to happen, and then one person's going to be responsible for it, and that's really a question that you can't really answer. And then also, another bad thing about autonomous cars is that has the potential to kill the job market. According to Lee, there's 1.6 million truck drivers employed in the U.S. in 2014, making an average salary of $42,000 per person. Now, it's a pretty substantial amount of people who are employed by driving trucks and school buses and anything that relates to cars. And also that with the amount of cars that are going to be driven, the accidents go down, and then so now you're not going to have people who are going to fix the cars because there won't be as many cars to fix. And according to Lee, again, in 2014, around 500,000 people were employed by car dealerships who fix cars. Another problem is the insurance. For one, a car that drives itself crashes itself. So who exactly is in fault? The car, or the person in the car, or the manufacturer of the car, since it's programmed to drive and then they crash itself. Volvo, I believe, came out and said that they'll take the responsibility of all their crashes, which could lead to a lot of trouble if they have problems with their cars. And also, the loss of revenue is another big problem with this. In 2014 alone, the annual income of speeding tickets and traffic violations was roughly $1.2 billion, which would be a huge loss if they would take away the cars. Now, sure, breaking the law isn't good, but that's still a lot of revenue that comes in from people not obeying traffic laws. Now, how can we fix this? Well, one is that you can just simply not buy the cars whenever they come out. And according to Greeno, in around the next decade, they're expected to see these cars being made and are pretty much going to become a reality. Now, at first, there'll only be like certain places where you can drive the cars, but then eventually it'll work its way into where everyone has them, and the cars today are outsourced. Now, how can we fix this? Well, for one, we cannot buy them, and also, whenever it does start to become a problem in the near future, we can start speaking up by contacting our local Congress people and trying to sign petitions and whatnot of trying to all that. Now, imagine a future without cars. I, for one, really like cars, and not having them would not be a very good thing. For instance, look at the Jeep and the '69 Camaro. You're not going to be able to have those if you get rid of the cars as they are today. The car culture is also huge, and you're going to be losing a huge part of American culture without cars. And, like, for instance, the market for cars, like aftermarket parts and whatnot, is huge. And also, you won't be able to work on your own cars because they're all going to be standardized, and they're not going to break very much because they won't wreck. And you're not going to be able to like tune them or anything because they set to drive at a certain amount of speed and whatnot. So you won't have people who are working on their own cars and making the cars that they want, and they're going to be driving what the company makes. And also you won't be able to drive fast or anything, which is good, but people like to drive and have fun and whatnot, but you can't do that whenever you can't drive your own car. So there won't be cars like 100,000 or 1,000 horsepower cars or anything like that. Now also, along with the culture loss, is that, for instance, I watched a documentary on Netflix about the Mustang a few weeks ago, and the historical relevance of the Mustang is huge. And where people who bought, say, the first Mustang still have it today and still in original condition, and they value it very high. And it's something that's like a cultural icon, and that you're just going to be getting rid of that, and then there's not really anything that you can necessarily replace it with. So in conclusion, I hope that this has hopefully changed your mind about the future of autonomous cars. It probably will happen, but hopefully it won't in the near future. I've went over showing you the bad of it, how it can hopefully be prevented, and the future without cars. And hopefully that can change your opinion about it, and hopefully make it so that you have the same view. And then also a thing to think about while I'm leaving this is think about the next time you see a really cool car, or you have some sort of cool car experience, and imagine not being able to experience that anymore because they may possibly not be in existence in the near future. And I'd like to thank you for watching this, and have a great day.